Shapeshifters. Shapeshifters are talked about in a lot of mythologies around the world. But the Cronides were notorious for shapeshifting, specifically Zeus, when he wanted to abduct women or young maidens for reproduction purposes. His equivalent in Nordic name, Odin, was also a famous shapeshifter, as was the other Cronides. Um, as I said, Zeus was able to shapeshift into either a woman, an animal, or an object. For example, when he made it with Danae, he appeared as a shower of gold. And when he abducted Europa, he appeared as a bull. With Leda, a swan. Ganymede was a young boy he abducted and appeared as an eagle. Alcmene, he appeared as her husband, Amphitryon, Tyron. Hera, at one point his wife, he appeared as a cuckoo. Toledo, a quail. Maya, a gopher. Samal as a mortal shepherd. Io as a cloud. And various other shape-shifting capabilities. Now, he's not the only Cronide that was able to do that. The other interesting thing is the talk about making humans shape-shift into something if they angered the gods. Now, I don't know if this is literal, symbolic, embellishment, or some sort of hidden meaning, but it is interesting that this concept of shape shifting, and generally the shape shifting is in order to mate or to escape harm, seems to be pretty consistent in all mythologies. And again, I've already said through my mythological unification theory that all of the mythologies are about the same people, which are these Cronides. And what else is interesting is I'm starting to look at some of these African mythologies, and they have this character, Mami Wata, and she's the equivalent of the Greek Aphrodite, and she was said to mate with men of her choosing, but she could shapeshift into a beautiful black woman with different color or different types of hair, or she could shapeshift into a woman that was white skinned, or she could even shapeshift into a man. What's interesting is she is known for having combs and mirrors and watches. And what I thought was interesting is this watch thing, which is the same thing that these ancient Sumerian carvings show these, whatever they are, winged creatures that have watches. So, and also, Mami Wadi is associated with a snake. So here is the reptile or the dragon symbol once again, which is common among these Cronides. So the other thing is the Dogon have a story about the Nomos, who to me sound incredibly similar to these Cronides. These Nomos came and gave them knowledge and created a priest, a Hogan, and but they were said to be ugly. They were said to be hermaphroditic, which I would say androgynous, and amphibious, and relating to of the being of the water. So you have some of these characters that are very associated with the water, which sounds like the abyss, going to some kind of a base under the bottom of the ocean. And then you have those with wings, which almost sounds like outside the planet, to some kind of another world or different heaven or space station or something. But, as I said, all of this could just simply be symbolic. Just as, wearing the horns is symbolic of the strength of the animal that has the horns. It just doesn't mean that the human has the horns, but they're trying to emulate that and have the strength of it. But I do find it strange, and I have to wonder if there's something else going on here. that takes you deeper down the rabbit hole. And as I've talked about in previous videos and things in my blog, these elves, the little people, well, we do have little people, but then there's little people or little elves that are not quite human. So yeah, I wonder if there's more to things. There's taller ones of these grays and smaller ones, and they all seem to have telepathic powers, and just as these ancient Cronides and other mythological gods and goddesses, and then on top of it, these little grays don't have it, but um, I've heard some of these other types of characters in alien lore do have shapeshifting capability, which is the same thing as these giant uh, gods and goddesses. And when they produce, children with these human women, their children appeared to be very tall and large, and with elongated skulls. As I've talked about in other videos, such as the pharaohs, it's just not a normal human skull. So I don't know if there's something even further into the mystery of who and what these ancient gods and goddesses were, but the Cronides were definitely associated with shape shifting as well as telepathic capabilities. And like I said, even in some cases, they could apparently make a human shapeshift, or at least think that they did. So this is something I'm going to look into further, and it just takes us further down the rabbit hole of something very hidden on this planet. And like I said, some of these mythological gods and goddesses were very associated with the water, which sounds like the abyss, and others had wings and very associated with the sky, almost like off the planet in the heavens. Okay, so that's it for shapeshifters. Thank you.